Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Wednesday walkabout. It's already been a busy morning, you guys. I had a 6 o'clock demonstration on KWTV here in Oklahoma City, and just did another radio interview on KTOK. Now I'm back here before going to Channel 4 this afternoon. So it's a busy day. But I'm taking time out for you guys because I want to show you just how beautifully things are coming along. Lots of work going on in the back, and I'll be revealing that this weekend. I am so excited. I'm also very excited about this Chinese snowball viburnum. Look at how many blooms it has on it, you guys. Stuart will be so happy to see it again. And they are just now starting to turn white. And I will show you how I will be thinning it out and limbing it up like I did at the other home. But right now, I want to enjoy each and every one of these blooms. And I think it is going to be a showstopper positioned here. I really think it's going to be fun after the flowers are mature and beginning to dry. I can just see the kids shaking the stems for the little flowers to snow on them, snow in spring. And despite taking a hit with that 0-degree winter we had, look at how beautifully the encore azaleas are coming out, and all of the moon dance hydrangeas in the back, and the ajuga. I'm just amazed at how well it's performing. So I'm planting some of this same variety in the back, and these sweet little purple blooms are just wonderful. And then it makes a nice ground cover to transition down to the stepping stones. And as it begins to creep too much over the stepping stones, I will just kind of clip it back. Sadly, I lost, probably not surprisingly, the gardenias that were in these pots going up and down these steps, but I've replaced it with these gorgeous encore azalea topiary, and I think they are going to be spectacular. They arrived late last year and they have some filling out to do, so now that they're in bigger pots, they will put on, I don't really want any more height, but they will put on girth at the top, and I will make sure to give them a good feed, and before I know it, they will really be filled out. Do a little pan from this direction of the upper terrace. I've got a scheme I'm trying for the umbrella to keep it from, let's just say, a little bit more secure when it gets windy.
Hello, Oklahoma City. Linda Vodder here, local garden guru and author of The Elegant and Edible Garden and the 5-Year Garden Journal. I am going to be at the Oklahoma City Home and Outdoor Living Show on March 22nd through the 24th. I'm going to be there on Friday and Saturday to answer lots of your questions, meet with you, and just have fun talking all things outdoor living and gardening. I hope to see you there.
So as we did last week, let's walk from north to south along the wall, and you can see that we're just flanked by tulips. And finally, the colors that I was hoping to see are starting to come out in the second wave, and I'm hoping they'll endure and really peak at Easter, and I think they will. You can see those sweet little purple heads of the ajuga poking up over there. The Taiga clematis has just been going crazy, so I've been doing lots and lots of pinching. And look at all the new growth. I was really kind of concerned after the winter we had, but look at all of the beautiful new growth on these Oakland hollies that punctuate both sides of the steps going up to the upper terrace. What I love about the design is that things aren't revealed all at once. To really see what is going on completely on the upper terrace, you have to get up there on that next level. So there's some mystery I mean, aren't these tulips from Color Blends just exquisite? So the French Rose Blend, that is what is starting to come out now. That and the Accabono that I planted. And I cannot tell you how important it is to plant tulip bulbs that bloom over a prolonged period of time. I probably in the future will not plant any early bloomers anymore. I will reserve my collections to just mid and late bloomers, and I think that will solve that problem. We did relocate a rose, and look at all the new growth, all the new shoots that are coming up on the apple blossom roses. And once again, I'm going to be doing just a long segment just on the better boxwood. Oh my goodness, it is absolutely spectacular. Again, there are not enough superlatives to describe how beautiful it is. Now, I know it's going to be tough and blight resistant, but its sheer beauty is just incredible. So look at how sweet these tulips are. And boy, has there been a lot of traffic. Now, those are the ones that are in bloom, but you guys, I still have some that haven't even opened yet. And tomorrow, hooray, I think we're supposed to get some rain, and the temperatures are going to cool down a little bit. Today it gets up to 68 or 70, 78, 72, 78, which is too warm. But then it cools down again, which is just what these tulips want. And the pansies and violas too. So look at how beautiful that looks along the brick path. Now, as we round the corner, you can see that the kaleidoscope abelia is really, really filling out. All of these shrubs are starting to thicken up, and pretty soon the landscape won't look quite so spotty and quite so, a little bit cluttered where you don't know where your eye should rest. That's because these aren't mature enough. And once they're matured and everything begins to kind of blend together, and now the color palette is starting to mature, the yellows are coming in, and that makes them speak and communicate a little bit better with the yellows and the pansies and the violas. I think it will be far more harmonious. And then look at just how beautifully that October Glory maple is looking against the spring sky. Today could not be any more beautiful. Yesterday was pretty windy. So as you round the corner, this is what you see. And I made a couple of changes already. So heretofore, there was not a boxwood on this corner. And I wanted to have one here because there's one on the other side, and I wanted the symmetry of that. And ultimately, those will grow larger. Those are actually baby gems. They'll grow larger, and I will transform them into boxwood balls. But the color palette is coming together. I'm so glad while I was gone, while I was in Indianapolis, that the Eugenia topiaries arrived. I've got some trimming to do on those, and I shall. But I just love how happy it makes people to drive by and see the tulips. And invariably, every single person that walks by comments. So let's get up close and personal here. And in this boxwood village, Better Boxwood Village, you can see the beautiful chartreuse color of the golden feverfew. And then that merges into a tuft of tulips. I think next year, you know, this year was an experiment. Next year, I think those tufts of tulips are not going to be so close to the edge, nor so close to the brick wall, because they need a little bit more room, and I think I'm going to offset them so they will be a little bit further back. See where the void is? And I will probably, in the front area, along this brick edging, I think it'd be more effective to just have the pansies and the violas. It's getting kind of cramped in here. But look at how beautifully the salvia has come out, and how gorgeous it is with these tulips. And what I love about this, I'm going to do a video on my favorite perennials this season, and ones that are just so easy to grow. And this is definitely one of them. And what I love about it is it's not only spectacular now with the tulips and the sunshine ligustrum, but all I have to do is keep deadheading it, and it will go strong all through the summer and then keep reblooming and into fall. I also love it, and really almost any salvia, because they are so tough. And I love the foliage, which is very disease and pest resistant. And I also like it because it does kind of go to seed, but not in an irritating way, in a very, very beautiful way. And it will come up in between flagstones and in interesting places where I can get the effect if I want to keep it there, or I can try to relocate it to someplace else. And that is another reason it's such a valuable plant. Well, I have been doing lots of pruning of the boxwood. In fact, I have a great big bruise on my left palm from overdoing it a little bit, and I'll show you the ones that have already been pruned. But it's just the glossy greenery of the boxwood it's just unparalleled. And I just don't know what I would do without it. So the thought that I've got a boxwood alternative that's blight resistant makes me thrilled. Another reason that it looks a little spotty up here and a little too busy is not only because the plants are not mature, but also because the pavers that I have in here, the stepping stones, are a little bit too small. And I didn't want to invest in large ones last year, but I think we've got some that I have discovered that are going to be reused from another property. So there'll be larger flagstone stepping stones in place. The other thing is, look at this side. And a lot of the shrubbery just hasn't grown up, like all of the buddleia. Once it fills out, all of those voids will be filled. But the other thing is I decided to plant another It's a Breeze Ivory Rose there, and that was planted late last year. Well, once that one grows up, it will have the same visual weight as this one right here. And once it does, the presence of that, even in the winter, will give me a great big block of green on this side as well. So it will give instant maturity by the end of the summer. And look at all of the new shoots coming off of it. Lots of them. I cannot wait for them to bloom. And there's lots of tufts of Veronica in here, and more salvia in kind of a lilac-y pink. But just look how beautiful that is surrounding the patio, the social patio. Lots of tulips up here still have not come into bloom, which I am so thankful for. But let me show you this beautiful corner montage. There's 4 of these corners, and this one has been pruned very prettily. So the boxwood village surrounding it has been pruned, and also the cone itself. Now, I still need to do some pruning on the eugenia, and probably some of the leaves are getting a little bit sunburned because they've been in the greenhouse and now they're exposed to the bright light of day and sun of day. But that's okay, because I'll just prune off any foliage that looks like it is discolored or needs to be rejuvenated. And then too, I've got these planted along the walkway, and I haven't decided if I'm going to move them in a little bit more towards the interior of the upper terrace, or if I will. I kind of like the way they line this path, so I'll decide that. I'll decide that in the fall. The redbud trees really are just divine. They're already putting on new growth, and the color is, as I've said many times, it's a perfect color echo, not only with the Ann Magnolia across the sidewalk, but also with that tuft of phlox that my neighbor has planted there. And I have also pruned this section of the quadrangle here with all of the boxwoods, the conical boxwoods in the center, and the boxwood villages. I have also done this one. From this vantage point, you can see that the other 2 that flank the corners or anchor the corners, this one I have not pruned yet. It's still fluffy. And this one I probably won't be pruning for a while because it really needs to fill out, and I will let it continue to do that because it's not quite as fat as the other guys. I had to replace that one. Amazingly, that's the only one I lost. And then over here, this eugenia, you can see it's in a big black pot, and after I trim it up, it will go into this big concrete pot. It will just nestle inside there, and I will transplant these spent bulbs, these daffodils and hyacinths, and those will go on Lemon Lane. And I did put a 2-tour in there to kind of give it some height. I hope you guys don't get tired of seeing this, but it's only at its peak, and we're about to reach peak for a short period of time. So I do want to exploit its beauty as much as possible. And because it's just so beautiful, it's nice to be out today. I'm getting lots of flowering on my Takes a Cake blueberry plants. That makes me happy. All of the tufts of the buddleia in my favorite shades of lavender and purple, those are starting to fill out. I had to cut them back really hard, but boy, they were tough, and they came up from the base like champions. And all of the white wedding hydrangeas, look at how much they've already filled out. I will probably give them a feed tomorrow morning, a granular feed tomorrow morning before it hopefully rains. Oh, I so wish you guys were here and you could just experience this with me. It still amazes me that this isn't really a year old. It is just amazing. I'm going to fill this void right there. I think I had a topiary in a pot there, but I think I'm just going to fill it with another azalea. So it will be the backdrop to Lemon Lane. And all of these downed soldiers here, these are all of the little muscari that were in the Easter baskets that I composed that you guys saw last week. And now the blossoms are spent. And so they will be planted all along Lemon Lane. And oh my goodness, this makes me happy. I'm just so fortunate that this came together this way. There's still a little bit of woodiness on the Miss Lemonabilia that I need to cut out. But I find a little bit of it charming because it just really speaks to early spring. And the foxglove, they are putting on size and weight. Look at those two right there. And what I'm going to be doing shortly, believe it or not, is I'm going to be sprinkling some foxglove seed because foxglove is a biennial. So I need it to constantly be generating foliage so I never have a gap in bloom in a season. Boy, that boxwood needs to be pruned. Look at how massive that rose has gotten. It's going to be spectacular. Here's a plant, Amsonia, that I've had in a pot before. It's starting to put out little flowers. And as it does a little bit more, as it has a little bit more dramatic activity, I'll show you that more closely. And the Little Miss Bonnie, Spirea, it needs some trimming. It comes out, this variety comes out a little bit later than some other varieties. And yes, there is a fragrance, a slight eau de parfum of manure because I put down some of that, some more mulch. The thing I'm going to tackle next week is my window box. And on the way to showing it to you, here's what I demonstrated. I did some topiary stuff on Channel 9 this morning, and that's the remains of the morning, and I haven't put it up yet. But I did a lot of clipping on this boxwood. Aren't these balls looking beautiful? And they have good definition. But yeah, the window box, it needs some love. It looks very, very barren, but I will do that shortly. It's been an extremely, that's an understatement. It's been an extremely busy week. And it will be busy until Sunday. I'm having a group of the local church, Methodist church here, St. Luke's. They have a walking group that comes by, or they walk different places every year, and this year the theme is gardening. So this evening about 6:30 they're going to be coming by. So we'll try to have some water and maybe a few treats for them. And this last Eugenia, it obviously it has some wonky stems, some out of place branches that I'm going to have to trim back, and I will do that. And also probably do a little bit of work on this gorgeous, huge geranium that also just came out of the greenhouse. Here's a vantage point I don't show very frequently, but it brings up the point that really we need to look at our properties and our landscapes from all angles. That's where you sometimes get the best snapshots, the best photographs. It helps us detect problems and it might give you new perspective on the design and what changes you might want to make. So this is a vantage point looking from west to east, and we're starting to get a little bit of cloud cover, so the light is softer than it was earlier. I really like that. I also like it because it's easier on the tulips and it makes the tulips last longer. So I continue to do things like pinch the Dusty Miller. I've been doing lots of pinching, and I'll also be pinching and planting more of the sedum, that sedum Autumn Joy, a couple of pieces I stuck in there. Now I'm seeing some leaf drop from my hollies, and that has me worried. So I'm going to be looking at that with Kayla to see if we're overwatering them, if it's just winter leaf drop, or if it's something that I need to be concerned about. I know in some other areas where there wasn't good drainage, they actually had to excavate them and put in a layer of gravel underneath and then replant them. So I am hoping that is not the case here. So here's my question of the day for you. If you were here strolling in my garden, like the 20 or so people that are going to be here this evening, who would you bring along to stroll with? Who would you want to stroll alongside? Would it be a family member? Would it be your best friend? Would it be your doggy? Would it be your spouse? Would it be your partner? Would it be your boyfriend? Would it be your girlfriend? I'm just curious. Who would you want to experience a spring garden with? And not necessarily just mine, but really any beautiful place where you like to walk. Who is the important person in your life that you like to share it with? So there you go. There is the Wednesday walkabout. I'm looking over here at how pretty. Okay, this will probably change the audio, you guys, but I'm going to expand this a little bit. Or hold on just a second. Maybe I'll just start another segment, so hang tight. As I've often said, this is all about, these Wednesday walkabouts that I shoot myself are all about authenticity, and I am no photographer, and I'm just doing this with my iPhone. But I did want to show you how beautifully, because in every season I am thinking about the season to come, and so I'm already thinking about this, all of these beautiful fire chief arborvitaes. Look at how the fire that they displayed in the winter and in the cool weather is slowly receding, and it's the green that's coming out, and how beautiful they look against that orange rocket barberry and the kaleidoscopilia. What a beautiful, beautiful trio. Let's take a visual snapshot of that trio right there, because it's really a wonderful, wonderful combo. I love it, and I love it even more in the fall. But right now it's beautiful. And then if you move the camera even more towards the foreground, you can see that the sunshine ligustrum comes into play too. So there you go. There is your Wednesday walkabout. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I see some of you this weekend. And thank you to all of those who came to the Indianapolis Flower and Patio Show. We had a lot of fun. See you guys soon.